Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning, and welcome to our second annual Clear the Vapor Conference, the Parents Against Vaping E-Cigarette high-level and highly accessible free conference intended to provide an overview and a deep dive into all aspects of the youth vaping crisis with an emphasis on practical solutions. We are so proud to have so many amazing speakers from the world of public health, tobacco prevention, as well as many high-level legislators and federal officials, and of course, parents and kids.
And for the first time, the breakout session on parent communication at 1:50 will be done in English with an interpretation in Spanish with a live translation. First of all, again, we want to welcome everyone, and we want to acknowledge that we are all gathering virtually today from all across the country, but we very much want to acknowledge the tribal lands upon which all of us are gathering in the hopes of making good medicine. And we would like to thank, of course, our gracious sponsors for their support. First of all, our founding sponsor, CVS Health, the American Heart Association, the Truth Initiative, the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, Kaiser Permanente National Community Benefit Fund at the East Bay Community Foundation, Soder Technology, Tobacco Free Florida, the Cancer Action Network, GlaxoSmithKline, the Child Mind Institute, the American Lung Association, Brown Strategies, and Vaping Prevention Resource. And thank you also to those of you who generously donated. We are a volunteer-run and powered organization, and we strive to keep our programming for parents and others free, so it is open and accessible to all. So thank you.
Now, when Meredith and I and our other co-founder, Dina Alessi, and our founding partner, Mimi Boblik, started on this journey almost 4 years ago, we had no idea what we would become. At the time, we were just moms fighting to protect our kids after they were directly targeted by a predatory vaping company, Juul.
And we remain moms fighting for our kids and for everyone else's kids. And even though some of you, many of you on this conference may have heard our story, I hope you'll bear with us, excuse me, if we tell it again. In April of 2018, my then 16-year-old son, Caleb, came home from his new high school and told us he was concerned about what he called a mixed message anti-addiction talk that day. And he proceeded to tell us that when the teachers and administrators left the room, which is common for these outside anti-addiction talks, this supposed educator began talking to this assembly of 9th grade teens, students, about Juul. Now, back then, most parents, certainly including me, really had never heard of Juul and had no idea what e-cigarettes really were at all. But all of the kids in the room did. Many of them were already Juuling. And so this supposedly trusted adult began talking to the kids about Juul, saying it was for adults, not for kids, but it was, quote, totally safe. And every time he said, it is for adults, not for kids, he would repeat that, it is totally safe. And at the end of this talk, my son Caleb and Dorian's son Philip, he showed these boys how it worked and called it the iPhone of vapes. We were horrified and began doing our own research. And that's when we discovered within 24 hours that this was a representative from Juul that had come in through this outside group that the school had no idea. And as we did our research, we were really horrified by both the scope of the predatory behavior of this company, Juul, that had been marketing on social media platforms where the kids were, but adults were not, and by the prevalence of what would not be called for almost 9 months, the youth vaping epidemic that we continue, all of us, to fight today.
Right. So this conference has so much important information and relevant information, and we hope it remains an important resource for parents, educators, and everyone who works with kids and families. It will be available online. It's being recorded, and you can refer back to this whenever you need it. However, today we feel it is more important than ever. A little more than a week ago, the FDA released a court filing that they will not be finished with their full PMTA review until June 30th, 2023. Now that's almost a year and a half, almost 2 years really, after they were supposed to have finished with their pre-market tobacco authorization review.
That means that these flavored products, including menthol flavor, one of the most popular among the millions of kids who are vaping, will remain on the market and accessible. There's been good and exciting news in this space. Recently, FDA did announce in a historic move that they will end the sale of all menthol cigarettes that the industry has used for decades to directly target and market to communities of color, specifically to African American smokers. And that's a fantastic, though that will not happen until about 2023. So it's very, very important for all of us to keep advocating for ending the sale at the state and local level of all menthol cigarettes. Yet again, for all of the reasons so powerfully stated by FDA, following its own science about menthol, why menthol is so deadly and should be taken off the market. One of the main reasons being it is an initiator of youth. For all those reasons, it is so important for all flavored e-cigarettes, and notably for menthol e-cigarettes that FDA has repeatedly said are being put to the side. They must be taken off the market, and waiting another year until 2023 is unacceptable when millions of kids are being harmed.
Right. So again, thank you all for being here. We're going to listen to a video from our, from our sponsor, CVS Health, and then we'll get into the program. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I am Marin Lopez.
And I am Ernie Lopez.
And we are paid volunteers and advocates from California. We got involved with Parents Against Vaping e-cigarettes when we discovered that vaping was happening in our own family, and we saw how harmful and addictive it is for youth. It is our honor to take this time to thank PAVE's founding sponsor of Clear the Vapor Conference, CVS Health, without whose generous support, Clear the Vapor would never have happened. CVS Health has a long history as a leader and a champion in the tobacco prevention field. In 2014, they became the first and continue to be the only national retail pharmacy to end the sale of any cigarettes or tobacco product in their stores.
Through their company and the CVS Health Foundation, they invested $55 million over a 5-year period through their Be the First initiative, working with leading anti-tobacco and youth organizations to support comprehensive education, advocacy, tobacco control, and healthy behavior programming. Most recently, they've integrated their tobacco prevention work into their social justice and health equity commitments, with new partnerships that focus on how tobacco use impacts BIPOC communities and how to address health disparities in underserved populations. PAVE is so proud to work in partnership with CVS Health, who is truly walking the walk and leading the way to a healthier future for all. Thank you, CVS Health.